Hi, my name's Emeretta. I'm with the Global Dialogue Foundation, and my involvement is to coordinate the operations through the Pacific region. Over the last couple of years, we've been hearing so many different discussions, and in going back to the islands, I've actually come to the realisation that we can actually help them to help themselves. And being from a developed country, I get to see so much waste and finances going into storage of things such as surplus resources in hospitals and schools. So we're in a collaboration with hospitals at this stage to deliver any of the resources that the hospitals in the developing regions in the Pacific need. Engage in conversations with the Minister of Health and the Director of the hospitals, and actually go through the hospitals and see what their needs were, to set the model to actually be able to use Kiribati at this first instance as a model that we can duplicate throughout the regions of the Pacific, and also for other board members that we have on Global Dialogue Foundation's committee. So really these are just stepping stones for us being able to really walk the talk and provide a solution that is using the problems at hand to find that whole real sustainable adaptation plan that the world is asking for. Kiribati has 33 islands and Tuvalu has their 9. And on the 33 islands, they're just small coral atolls, and the people live on the rim of this water. We have the 7-year storms that are, termed under the El Nino effect, and they become harder and harsher on the coastal area. So people's homes that are on, and they live on the beach side, the freshwater lens that they're getting their freshwater supplies is being tainted by either the king tide coming over the shore edge, or it's actually permeating their freshwater lens. And the traditionally, or naturally, what the coral atolls had was a natural filtering process with the live coral. But with the global warming situation, the coral around these islands is being destroyed as well. So I can say that when I was little, and that was over 30 years ago, that I would be able to go swimming along the reef edge there, and I'd see so many vast arrays of colours in the coral. But if you go out along there now, you get the brown and the cream. And those are more of the hardier coral that survive, the sponge type coral that don't really filter out the salt water as the live coral that now no longer exists along our coastline. Our people are needing to rely on imported products, and therefore it affects their whole dietary system, their genetic order. It does not, and it applies to anywhere else in the rest of the world. They're now increased signs and reports of diabetes, and having to deal with these new illnesses is bearing a weight on the health financial system, and people that are needing to have these diabetes treated and needing to be flown to Suva, and there's also cancers that have developed, and these also get treated overseas because we just don't have the medical facilities in any of these developing countries, nor do we have the know-how. There are a handful of doctors that are coming over to work on the situation, but the population far exceeds, and the illnesses that they have are things that just can't be dealt with at this stage. So that's where Global Dialogue is having that, has come to the forum to try and find that solution and make it work. Now we've come to the point in time where people like myself, and encouraging my nephews and other young people who have the nous to use a camera and have the ability to create and produce a documentary, to actually go into those regions, to actually ask the questions, and to sit down and take the time to show how the pandanus is treated, and how it's actually used to make those mats, and what the difference is with the distinct differences between a Nuian mat, a Vaitupuan mat, or what's the difference between a Tuvaluan and a Kiribati mat or a Samoan mat. To look at them, they've got distinct differences, and Pacific Islanders can tell that, but the person outside, they can't. Now, a lot of students that have migrated to the international communities have had children that are born and raised overseas in the developed worlds. They don't know those differences, and even the language is somewhat being diluted. There's mixed feeling about digitising the culture. If you go to the elders, the real elders, they're actually going to they will most likely put up a bit of a debate about it, because it has traditionally been an oral passing down on skills, and it's been the distinction between families as what their traits are. So a fishing family doesn't want to pass their traits onto the family that is traditionally making mats or using massage for remedial therapy or even the herbal therapies. Those sort of things are what the big issue is. How to capture it, but how to keep it distinct for the family lines. That's the argument. But at the same time, when those elders, if we look at about 20 to 30 years from now, those very elders that are going to be debating will not be around. And we risk the fact that we could actually lose the whole culture altogether. And that's part of the bigger picture. So what we could do, and what anybody that is not from the regions would need to do, is actually encourage an Indigenous person, young person from that region who has the family lines, to come along and be the interpreter and actually take ownership of that section of craft or skill that they're going to try and capture. We've never wanted to commercialise our customs, but these sort of discussions need to be had amongst the elders and amongst the young people that are potential leaders. And it's up to us who are in the position to mentor and coach these young people to give them the confidence to ask the questions of the elders, to please disclose that information. Because, as I said earlier, 20 to 30 years, definitely 50 years from now, we will not have the traditional know-how at our disposal. We have young innovators that are coming up with ideas of alternative energy resources. We also have young engineers designing areas such as reclaimed land, and then the project that we also have in Global Dialogue Foundation, which is the Project Kaisei. We have a large amount of plastic that's going to be brought out of the Pacific Ocean, which is our food base, that we rely on fish and rice to be our staple diet. And all these ideas can be using the problem to find the solution, and giving the hope to these young people is the way that we can actually inspire them to think outside the square. Throughout Pacifica, people have migrated and have been accepting of each other. They've negotiated on their land treaties, and they've embraced each other and understood each other and respected each other's social norms that include the spirituality, the family lines, the lineage of elders and authority. So all these things are what we stand to lose if we don't come to the forefront and actually try to find a way to keep the people in the regions right where they belong. Having conversations with universities, having conversations with governments where they can actually develop policies and provide fundings in areas that are going to enhance the education and support the lateral thinking plans of medicine, engineering, education, and alternative technology is the way to go forward. And if governments are having these open-minded conversations, then the universities can come to the forum and actually be involved with giving the students that are coming up with the innovative ideas to actually do something that's going to make a change.
So many people, so many lives.